Application debugging in IBM Bluemix Platform as a Service. After completing this unit, you should understand how to debug and edit applications in Bluemix Platform as a Service by using Eclipse tools, Pivotal Cloud Foundry tools, Bluemix Live Sync, and Desktop Sync. Let's take a look at Bluemix tools. We have IBM Eclipse tools for Bluemix and Pivotal Cloud Foundry tools that are vendor-specific extensions built on Cloud Foundry Eclipse tools. The CF tools provide vendor-neutral support for all Cloud Foundry environments. The Cloud Foundry Eclipse tools are built on Eclipse and Web Tools platform. Eclipse is a standard IDE environment for developing applications. The IBM Eclipse tools are based on Cloud Foundry Eclipse tools. They allow developers to develop, test, and push applications to the cloud directly within Eclipse. These tools support the Tier 1 runtimes, namely Liberty for Java and Node.js. IBM Eclipse tools for Bluemix enable you to create a Bluemix server and connect to it. You can deploy applications directly to a Bluemix server in Eclipse by using WAR or EAR files. The tools help you tune the Bluemix server, edit application information, and deploy application instance information. You can create services and bind them to an application instance, edit environment variables, and debug remotely. You can install the IBM Eclipse tools for Bluemix from the Eclipse Marketplace. Eclipse tools support both development mode and debugging mode for applications running with IBM Liberty for Java build pack in Bluemix. Enabling application debug mode puts the application in developing and debugging mode, thereby allowing the application developer to conduct various operations so that errors can be found and resolved within the application. In this mode, developer can create remote debug sessions with the application instance. When we enable the application debug is selected, development mode is automatically enabled. You can disable application debug mode while keeping the development mode to incrementally publish application changes to Bluemix without redeploying the app. Earlier, you had to deploy the entire application for a simple change in the app. With incremental publish support, you can publish only the changed files to Bluemix, and the changes will take place immediately without a redeploy of the entire application. After an application has been deployed to Bluemix, you can right-click the application from the server's view and select Enable Development Mode. When the application is running in development mode, you can incrementally push your application to Bluemix by clicking the Publish button. You can switch back to normal mode just by right-clicking on the application and disabling development mode. Or you can leave the application in development mode but disable application debug mode. Development mode enables you to incrementally push changes to the application. Session scope changes will be lost when the application is restarted or restaged or pushed. Make sure you check the names of packages. The default package that is class without a package name is not supported. Incremental push might also result in session invalidation. With IBM Bluemix DevOps services, you can perform all of your testing and debugging for Node.js apps right from the web IDE. Bluemix Live Sync provides tools to deploy and make changes to your code in the test environment. Simple code updates can be viewed immediately in the running app without the need to redeploy. Bluemix Live Sync works both from the web IDE and the command line, so you can choose where to develop your app while having all the benefits of deploying with Bluemix. Let's define how a Node.js app is to be deployed. The run bar, which is located within the web IDE, provides all of the controls for Bluemix Live Sync. On the bar you can see the deployed state of your app. You can also deploy, stop, and open the app, open its dashboard, and view logs. If you are deploying a Node.js app, the run bar contains additional icons to enable live edit mode, quickly restart the app, and open debugging tools. You can use the run bar quickly to test debug code in a personal environment before you push the code into production. When you use the run bar to deploy your code, only the code that is currently in your workspace is deployed. Launch configurations define the settings that the web IDE uses to deploy your app on Bluemix. If you want to deploy your app locally, you first must create a launch configuration. On the run bar, click the launch configuration list and then click Create a new launch configuration. In the Edit Launch Configuration window, indicate that this is a test version of your app by adding the text to the app's name and host. For example, -live is added to the name of the host. DevOps Services provides an initial launch configuration name automatically, but you can change the name as needed. To deploy your app, click the deploy icon on the run bar. When you click the icon, an instance of your app is deployed by using the current contents of your workspace and the environment that is defined in your launch configuration. After your app is deployed, you can also complete any of the following actions: stop the app, open the deployed app, view the logs of the deployed app, open the app's dashboard, and live edit. If you are developing a Node.js app, enable live edit mode. When you work in live edit mode, changes to static files such as HTML or CSS can usually be seen immediately in the deployed app. If you make changes that affect Node.js source files, you can restart the app quickly without redeployment by clicking the restart icon. Another benefit to live edit mode is the debug feature. You can edit code dynamically, insert breakpoints, step through code, restart runtime, and more while your app is running on Bluemix. Now we'll look at how to manage the runtime of a Node.js app. Select an option to manage the runtime of your app or begin debugging. If you click Open Shell, a bash shell is displayed. In the shell, you can access the container that your app is running on. You can remotely run diagnostic shell commands to administer your app. If you click Open Debugger, Node Inspector opens. Node Inspector is a debugger interface for Node.js apps that uses the Blink developer tools, formerly WebKit Web Inspector. Note: Node Inspector is currently supported only on Chrome and Opera browsers. Node Inspector offers many useful debugging techniques for Node.js apps. You can set breakpoints and specify trigger conditions in code, disable or enable all breakpoints, inspect scopes, variables, and object properties, display the value of an expression in source code by hovering over it, editing variables and object properties, and breaking on exceptions. To synchronize your local environment with Bluemix, open a command line window, sign into Bluemix by typing your IBM ID and password, view a list of your Bluemix projects, and synchronize your local environment with your project on Bluemix. By synchronizing your local environment with Bluemix, you populate the local directory with the files from your Node.js project. When you are finished making changes, type Q to end synchronization. You can also enable the desktop sync feature to edit code locally. The desktop sync feature is like live edit mode for the command line. To debug from the command line, you must enable the desktop sync feature. In another command line window, enable the desktop sync feature. Use the launch configuration that you created in the web IDE. After you select the launch configuration, desktop sync is enabled in your local environment. In the command line window that you just opened, you can view the app's URL, the debug URL, the manage URL, and view the Bluemix sync state. Refresh the browser and verify that you can see the changes that you saved to static files in the local workspace. To disable the desktop sync feature, in the second command line window, either enter BL stop. In the first command line window, enter Q.